Hey y'all, what's up? So I just got done watching night 2 of WrestleMania. A lot of interesting points. So I don't know. I'm confused, but I get it because as a fan, I'm confused. As a business person, I get it. So I'm like, ugh, I don't know how I feel. To me, overall, WrestleMania 41 was underwhelming compared to the last two that I've seen. It was underwhelming compared to the Elimination Chamber and the Royal Rumble, to keep it honest. In me personally. But I know some people loved it through and through, and I'm just one person with one opinion. Like, everybody's gonna have different opinions. Everybody's not gonna love everything. So, like, when people be bashing people for having, like, this is my opinion. Like, I'm not gonna be like, if you watch my videos, I'm not sitting there gonna be bashing people and stuff like that. Like, this is their job. This is what they love to do. I'm just a spectator. I just love to watch it. So, and I like to get it out. So the first match. So my 3 matches I was anticipating the most was the women's triple threat, the men's fatal 4-way, and Drew versus Damian. How generous of Triple H, and I'm tired, to have all 3 back to back. And they lived up to and superseded my expectations. Okay? If I had to rate each match from worst to the best match for that night, it would be, the worst match would be Cody and John Cena. Okay? Then it would be Crazy and Cool, which I call Liv and Raquel, versus the Irish Connection, which is Lyra and Becky. Then it would be, I'm not even saying it was bad. Like, I like these 2 matches, but because I was anticipating the other 3, I'm going to put Joe and Randy and AJ and Logan in the middle, because those matches were phenomenal too. But it's just like the 3 I was anticipating, of course, are going to be the best matches in my opinion. Like, but the 2, and now I'm sitting here dwelling on it, like, I don't know. And I think I probably would have if I was going to start with the girls and purposely make the ending the way it was, it went from whoop, it literally went in reverse from what I said. So it went from the best matches and then it went downhill. Like, if I wanted to keep the momentum up, like raise the momentum and then keep it down and raise the momentum, I probably would have had a triple threat match. I probably would have did, I don't know who I would have did next. It would either been Randy and it probably would have been, no, because it's 7 matches, right? I would probably have Randy and Joe, right? And then I would probably do Damian and Drew. Then I would probably go Crazy and Cool versus the Irish Connection. So Lyra and Raquel versus Becky and Lyra. Then I would do the 4-way match just to have a build up. Then do John Cena and Cody. But if now think about it, if I would have did it that way, we would have had such a build up with Dom and them that Cody and Cena would have been even more underwhelming than what it was. So from if they were going for that, then what they had, the way that they had, like, he had it was the right formula. Okay? So the first match, everyone, like, even like Joe, Sam, and Big E was saying the match of the night with the girls. Yeah, I know I'm here for the girls and here for the tag teams. That match was incredible. You hear me? The way to start the match out. For me, personally, I wanted Iyo to keep it. And she did, okay? I already knew, first of all, she came out, her words were black and green. Y'all know those are my colors. I don't know if that was an homage to Triple H or what the thing was, but she came out in the yellow. I still haven't Googled what it is with Japanese wrestlers in the fur, mainly the women. Like, what's the cultural significance behind that? Because Juliana wears it. The people in New Japan Pro Wrestling wear it. Like, what's the significance with that? Where is Japan at in Asia? Is it like up there, like across? Like, if you do like this across, would it be like Japan, New England? I mean, England and them, New England, because the fur would be, because it's cold. That would give us, But I don't know. But that match was crazy. And I love the way they started it when Rhea and... Okay, first before it started. And then she comes out. So then Rhea comes out last. But Rhea has on lipstick that looks kind of jokerish. I didn't really care for that. And y'all know I'm always here for the face beat. And recently, since she's been by herself, she sings her song to calm her nerves. But that vest and that skull helmet when she came out, I was like, ooh. And I was like, I wonder if the girl that did her gear did the vest. Because I know who does her gear. The lady that does her gear, I follow on Instagram. She does Natalia's gear. She does Shotzi's gear. I think she does Scarlett's outfits. And then she does Rhea's. I think she did Alexa Bliss's in the Elimination Chamber too. Like, but she's so booked and busy that when I looked like last October 2024, she was booked up until like January 2026. I said, God dang. Like dang. And do you have an assistant, or are you the only person making all these gear outfits? And I was like, you know how booked you have to be booked out a year in advance? I know she getting coin, okay? Because I was like, and I know she do people from AEW and other promos too, because I've seen some of the gear, and I was like, this looks like a good gear, a concept for such for WWE, and it'd be for someone else for another promotion. But I was like, dang, 2026. I think that's what it said, and I was like, that's crazy, okay? Like, but when you good at what you do, and you got a certain style that someone likes, and y'all don't have any bad blood, like, and they get your measurements where the sewing and the gear people at WWE don't have to like adjust it and stuff like that. Like, I'm going with you too. Now, the only reason why I would probably use other people sometimes, like how Naomi does, when she does sometimes Connie and Starlin, and then she'll go to Paz, and then she'll go to JP, and like stuff like that, is if either the other person is busy, or if I want to try a different concept that they have presented to me. But to give like other people a chance. But other than that, I'm sticking with what I know. Like Seth has Troy, like Jay and Logan have Sarah. Like how, you know what I'm saying? Like how Chelsea and Pretty Deadly got the same gear person. So, and Bianca does her own thing. Like, you stick with what you like. So I get that. But I was like, her gear was everything. I liked the yellow on Iyo too. And when she came out, they cheered. Then Bianca came out. Listen, I said, first of all, the gear is giving Spain to me. It's very give much Spain, or give the girl her flowers. And it was a flower robe, and it was flower all in the hair, and it was, Bianca's gonna have production when she come out. I think she had the best interest of that night. If I'm thinking, trying to think, did she have the best interest of the night? No, she had one of the 3 or 4 best interests of the night. But she had the jump rope girls. And then she had a girl come out, and then it was like, this is her stepdaughter. And I was like, first of all, we don't stay as a community. And this is not just the Black community. Millennials. We don't say anymore. We don't use that term step. Not unless your significant other has a child that you're not familiar with, or you don't really like, but you tolerate. That's when you say step. But other than that, if you love the child down, and they'll have a good relationship, that's your bonus baby. Or and just like she's your bonus mama. Like, we don't say sister-in-law no more. Like, if you and your wife's, you and your brother's wife, or your sister's wife, or whatever, have a relationship, we call it sister-in-love. Like, my sister is my sister-in-love, my brother's wife. Like, I love her. I text her more than I text him, because he don't answer. And like, I have a genuine love for her. Like, I appreciate her. I appreciate how she raised my niece and nephew. Like, I could come over there and chill with her, and he ain't even got to be there. Like, but I'm a type of person that I might not speak because I'm very observant and I'm very like at first, but I'm always nice, and I always give people the benefit of the doubt, no matter like what I hear from other people. So like somebody could tell me, oh, she this. Now I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind, but I'm not gonna base you off of that because what y'all had got going on, first of all, ain't got nothing to do with me, and second of all, that was only one side of the story, if that's true, So like, I'm not that type of person. Like all my siblings and my family members be like, Brittany like everybody, and then they be like, if she don't like somebody, something is wrong. So like I try to give. So we don't say step no more. Like, I know what he meant. I think Wade or Cole said it, but I was like, we say bonus baby. And that was her bonus baby. I was like, oh, that's cute. And I was like, she looked just like her daddy. But I've seen her on like his posts. So, yeah. And I was like, both of his babies look like him. And so she came out, they had the booze and the mix, and you remember how people was like, oh, they're booing for her in Europe, and I had mentioned this before in the past video, and I was like, it's not a racism thing, because I was like, there's plenty of other people that were black and people of color that they cheer for, like Naomi and Street Profits and the Bloodline and LWO. I was like, they don't want her to win it. Like, they love Rhea down, okay? Rhea has become such a star. But I'm like, everybody knows it's Iyo's time. And last year, Iyo had a phenomenal 2024. When she first, 2023 into 2024. When she had got the belt and then all that. And then everything that transpired after she lost the belt. Like, she's had so when Rhea came out after that. And then she came out and had her thing and stuff. And I was looking at the braid, and I said, that braid, we got to get a new braid. Because it was braided down, and then the part of it looked like it was, like, kind of loose. And I was like, we got to get sis a new braid. I don't know how much hair they used to do that, but we got to get a new one. The match started off great. Rhea and Bianca was sitting there arguing. And when they was about to sit there and mush, Iyo grabbed both of their hands. And like, I think she smacked both of them. And I said, okay. I said, because I'm tired of disrespect. And I was like, Bianca, my girl. And y'all know Iyo and Bianca's song is two of the songs I dance. 2 out of 5 of the songs I dance to. So I'm sitting there dancing in between, and watching it pop off and stuff like that. Like, it was so much going on in that match that every time I looked down a tweet, I looked up and something else is happening. And I was like, I feel like I need to pause and tweet. Like, I seriously need to go back and rewatch, like, between this match and that Fatal 4-Way match. Because I was missing the first 3 matches, I was missing a lot. Like, I was missing a lot. Because I'd be like this, like, ooh. And then I'm sitting there, ooh. And I was like, I can't, because I'm tweeting from my phone. I can't text and look up. Like, when we had the T9 text, when you had to do like 3 and C and stuff like that, I could do that without looking. But for some reason, I can't do it on the modern day phones. And I was like, I should have brought my laptop and was tweeting from my laptop because I could type without looking. But Rhea, I think, what's the name, tried to hit her with a moonsault, Iyo. Rhea had her leg up. Rhea had hit, I think, Bianca with a riptide. Bianca had hit Rhea with a KOD. And I was like, when they did the survey of like what's the worst move from a woman, and I think they said the riptide, the KOD, and annihilation from Nia. And I was like, them two getting each other's moves is crazy. And then them two, like, I forgot what happened. I think Bianca had finally hit Rhea with the KOD. Iyo came out of nowhere and did the moonsault, and then like she pinned both of them because she was on top of both of them. I think one dispersed off, and then she ended up winning. That match was crazy. Okay, so then the next match come on. So then it was like, oh, we about to do Drew and Damian. I was like, yes, you gotta know I'm in for Damian and the street fights. Like, to me, that's in his wheelhouse. I love when he does street fights, but I will say, I know that wears and tears on his body. Like, entertainment wise, it's awesome. But like, as far as his age and stuff, like, I want to kind of see a diverse, different type of groups and matches and stuff like that. Like, because the wear and tear, I think he does a street fight, what, twice a year, once a year, or something like that. I know it's got to be crazy. So, first they stole some statue, and Drew comes out. And I said, who the hell? I said, is he in the statue? So then they show him, I don't know if his gear, I think, was based off the video game or not, but I was like, that's my second favorite gear of his outside of the dark green. I was like, I like the little fur robe joint. And then I was like, I missed them having the fire on the ring post because they showed it at the top of the thing. As soon as I tweeted that they had the fire on the ring post, I said, ah! I was like, they have it. I was like, the last time I think I've seen the fire on the ring post is when he used to have a sword. And I was like, that had to been like 2-3 years ago. I was like, we ain't seen it since. So I was excited about that. Damian comes out. And first they had the guitar player doing a riff. And my ears are sensitive. And I think that's because when I work in sound. When I first started working in sound and production, the guy that was training me on like what to do and stuff like that, like what's the standard thing for the service and stuff, he was like, when you start doing sound, he was like, even if you're not doing the sound, but you're in the room with the sound engineer, which is what he mainly does, he was like, you're never going to hear stuff the same. You're never going to hear music the same. Like, and then if you're musically inclined, people think a performance sounds good. You know, it don't sound as good as they say it does, which is true. You won't hear music the same. You won't hear like certain stuff the same. So like the guitar solo was piercing my ears. And my first thought, because I didn't know who he was, I'm not real big on like artists that are rock artists. And I was like, is that his friend that played for him in NXT? And then I was like, I know it's just him doing the solo before his music hit. But I was like, you know the mics that they have when they give people that doing plays or like a speaker or a pastor or something like that, or instrument mics. I said, why they didn't put a small mic on his guitar? Because I'm like, outside of the only time we could hear it is when the camera person came up on it. So us watching it could hear it. But I'm like, the people in the stadium don't know what the hell going on. They can't hear it. So Damian came out. I was like, okay. Then he came out with his gear. I said, okay, black and gold. Like, I like the gear. Cause I'm like, it's not the normal red, purple, and black that he normally wears. Like the white, I liked at one point in time. And then when he wore, like, had the Puerto Rican colors, I think in Backlash, I like that. I was like, okay, I like this. And I was like, I'm loving his hair. Like, the evolution of it became a long way. Because I was like, even last, and they brought it back last WrestleMania. But I was like, them crochets was not it. And I was like, that's heavy on your head. Then I'm like, when he wears the ponytail with the 2 Senegalese twists, 2 or 3, I was like, that's cool. Or he wears the bun with his hair out. I'm like, that's cool. But then at one point in time, like, they put all them Senegalese twists or short king twists or whatever you want to call them in his head. And I was like, it's too much. But I'm like, today they had the right amount. I think they had the little gold rings in it to match his gear. I was like, okay. So the match started out, Drew basically took over. Okay? Drew took over the match. And was it Drew? Yeah, Drew took over the match for a while. And Wade had said something like, Damian is the street king. No. And I was like, he the street king in this his match in his wheelhouse. I said, but he can his behind kick. Like, come on, let's go. So he pulled out, like, I think as soon as Drew put the chair on him, what's the name, had chokeslammed him. And then he set up the tables. I'm gonna try to put him through the tables. Drew had fought back. One thing I will say about Drew is Drew made sure that his opponent is safe. Because when he did, was it the DDT on the stairs? I was like, the Future Shock DDT, I said Drew took most of that hit. I was like, he made sure that Damian was covered. And I was like, you know how good of a wrestler you have to be to do that? And I was like, and you could tell he took most of the hit for one. I said, because his back started bleeding. So then at one point, Damian had went through both chairs. And I forgot what else happened. I think that was before or after Drew had raised his edge, Drew through the chair and what you comment. And shortly after that, it was like they was beating the hell out of each other. And then because I was like, what's gonna happen if Drew loses? What's gonna happen? I was like, is he gonna keep coming after Damian? But I was like, the way Drew set up and his persona set up, and I watched the Slammies too. Cody won a lot of awards. Drew won social media presence of the year again, which he deserves it. Like Chelsea was cute and she did a couple close things, and I said that because I voted actually this year. And I was like, but she still don't beat Drew. And some of the stuff I voted for, like quite a few things I voted for, ended up making it. Like female star of the year, I think, was Liv. Got that. NXT star of the year was Roxanne. That's my girl. Both Liv and Roxanne are my girls. I voted for them. The entrance of last year, I can't remember who I put. I think it was The Rock I put, but that didn't win. Cody ended up winning. They had Cody win male superstar of the year. I can't remember if I voted for him or not. I think I voted for Jay. But I think he got like best aura. And then best villain was Dom and Liv. No, I think for best interest I picked Dom and Bad Blood, because that's when he came up in that car, in that lowrider. That's all I can remember. Oh, tag team Bianca and Jade. That was a given. Like, because for me it was either between Bianca, because y'all know I like Bianca and Jade. I love War Raiders. Pretty Deadly. To me, if they would have did like extended their story more, or 8 Time Down Under, I probably would have voted for them. But like in DIY with the heel turn was kind of cool. But I was like, it came down to the Stormiest, Jade and Bianca, or DIY, and I ended up picking the girls. And I think for male superstar of the year, of course I picked Seth. I think I picked Seth. No, I said Jay, but I think I picked Seth. I most definitely picked Seth. And for the aura, I did pick Jay. But in moment of 2024, it was definitely Cody's win I picked. So like some of the stuff I voted for got it, because I remember like I just was watching it fold and close, like as background noise. It ended up and Chelsea tried to steal Drew Slammy again, and then they had Mankind come back, Cactus Jack come back, and Mick Foley present. That was cute, and stuff like that. But anyways, so they was beating the hell out of each other, and then Damian got pinned. Because I was like, it don't matter if Drew won anyway. I was like, if Drew wins, he could still taunt Damian. I said, remember he kept winning the matches against Jay and still kept taunting that man. Like, why you improved your point, leave that man alone. I was like, good thing he ended up going after Seth after that. Because I was like, I think it ended up being like after Survivor Series, he started leaving Jay alone and started going after Seth. And then when Punk came back, it ended up being that situation. But I was like, you like a dog with a bone, like let it go, okay? So then I still gotta watch Raw. I'm tired. I still gotta watch Raw. Yeah, so I was like, dang. So I was like, this Damian's wheelhouse. But I was like, yeah, Drew. But like Drew is too good, because I'm like, he's been in like the last 3 elimination chambers that I've watched, last 3 or 4, and every year in my brain, even when Bobby Lashley was there, I'm like, if Robbie don't win, Drew is definitely winning, just based off of skill set and physique. I'm like, and I know they gotta lose based off of the storyline, but I'm like, in my brain computing that, I was like, it don't compute. Because I'm like that time, that year that Bobby got pinned, I said, there's no way in hell Bobby was getting pinned. I'm like, this man beat Brock, he done beat Omos, he done beat, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's no way in hell he was supposed to lose. But I guess they ain't had no story for him. But yeah, so Drew ended up winning. Drew left and was going up there, and then turned around, and the refs were checking on Damian, and Damian was like, he can't breathe. And I was like, y'all medics better hurry up and give him an oxygen thing. And that's when I was like, the street fights are exciting to watch, but I'm like, that takes a toll on your body, because I'm trying to figure out. And I was like, he can't breathe. Drew doing this and then doing this on the side. I said his ribs is definitely either bruised or cracked. And I'm like, these men are phenomenal, but I'm like, you also got to put into play your age. Like, they're either, I think they're both in their 40s. I was like, that takes a toll. Like, the stuff, like having the same match with them two, and it's in your 20s, is different than having the same match at your age now. Like, so I was just more so like, I was excited for the match, but so then after that, they was like, we're going to have a fatal 4-way match. And I was like, oh my God. So they had a fatal 4-way match. Penta came out first, and Penta cracks me up because he does his walk like this, and then he goes down. I'm like, what is wrong with him? So then he dap people up and does this, zero fear. And then Dom came in, and I was like, I like Dom's white gear. I was like, it's different. And I was like, I'm glad he shaved down that mustache, and he came down. And then I was like, he nice looking for his age. I was like, but I think it's more for the smile on the teeth. Speaking of, during the press conference, Iyo won. They didn't ask her any questions. She doesn't really, like, in order for them to ask Iyo questions, I feel like WWE would have to get a Japanese translator, and for her to sit next to her or put one in her ear, and then her respond. But then the person would have to, like, for her to respond, but the person, I don't know, if they did the ear thing, the person would have to respond, I guess, via teleprompter or something. I don't know. But she gave a statement and was like, she wasn't losing her champion. She's still the women's champion, basically like that. Drew and Damian, either of them, they didn't, I think, neither of them interviewed. I'm about to get some money. And then Penta came out, Dom came out, and then Finn came out. And I was like, okay, Finn with the black and yellow and the gray, because he had a little gray stripe. And I said, I low key can see people from people from around the way, like homeboys from around the way wearing that outfit. And I was like, he really don't have no body fat. I'm like, his body is insane. Like Drew, like Pat says that about Penta, and I think he says that about Ludwig. But I'm like, I don't think Drew really got nothing either. He's just big. And they was laughing because that match was sponsored by Dude Wipes, and they always say that Dom is a POS and a piece of, and that he had, I think, toilet tissue on sale on the WWE shop. So they found that so funny, the commentators. And then Bron came out, and Bron had a gear that was half white and then half like blue with the squiggly things. And I was like, the squiggly thing side remind me of, the intro to like Saved by the Bell, when they have the squiggly things and stuff like that in the background, or Rugrats. I was like, that's what it's giving. Okay. As soon as the match went over, I said, now I don't know what's going to happen, because I had Dom winning this match. I wanted Damian to win the last match, but I had a feeling Drew was gonna win, which I was right. I wanted Dom to win his match. And I was like, somebody's gonna turn on somebody in the Judgment Day. I said, it has to happen. So they ended up fighting. Bron goes off the rip. Okay? He goes off the rip. And I'm like, God dang. And then it was like, they show like past like he's a freakish athlete. Like it doesn't make sense. And I said, and of course I say the normal, like every time I watch him in the ring, I get pissed off. For a second. Just for a second. Like I love watching him in the ring. But I'm like, he could have been with us. Okay, in Baltimore. Just saying. And he was just going at it. And I'm like, Dom, like Finn came in and tried to pull the same move he pulled Monday. Bron caught him. Penta got him a little bit. And Penta ended up getting Finn with was it Finn or Dom? With the Mexican Destroyer? That was like, Dom was the smart one in this match. Because I was like, he would strike at certain times. Like when Bron was busy, or he was like, you know how they be in the corner, like catching their breath. When Bron was doing that, or something like that, he would come in and strike. So then the camera show the commentators, because when I saw at the beginning, okay, I said Cole, Wade, and Pat are on the right side, and I said normally they're on the left side. I said, so why they switch? Something must be about to be happening today. So then they show over, and I'm like, where is I was like, where did Carlito come from? Okay, like where did Carlito come from? So for me, the best entrances of that night was Bianca's. Okay, it was Joe's, of course, too. It was Logan Paul's. Okay, and ironically for me, it was John Cena's. Like those four were the best entrances to me of night 2. But I'm gonna tell you why though a little later. So yeah, I was like, where did Penta come from? Like, what is happening? So I think Bron sees him right away and ends up like fighting him and stuff like that, getting him out of the way and things like that. So then Penta, I think right before that, was it right before that, right after that? Right before that, Dom ends up going after Finn. And I said, I told y'all someone was going to turn on somebody. And I said, I low-key thought it was going to be Finn. And then they was like, Finn is already Grand Slam champion. He needs to go and da-da-da. And like I mentioned before, I'm like, Dom, you've been one time, I think, a tag champ, a 2-time North American champ. Like, and you always trying to put everybody else on. It's your time. So Carlito had caught, I think, Penta, and was about to try to put him. He had stood on the announcement table and tried to put him on there. And Bron Breakker ran or jumped from the one side of the other announcement table to the other side and speared the hell out of Carlito. I just got done watching 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Carlito. So I was like, so then Pat started doing the dance and I was crying. Because I was like, first, the dance caught me off guard. That's why I was laughing. I was like, I'd have been there dancing too. He was like, oh, you just got knocked out. He was like, the way that and I think either that night or the night before, Pat was like, and these are the expensive announcement tables. And I said, okay. I said, you could, when the camera was up close on like Carlito and them, I said, you could see the thickness of the top layer of that table. I said, them old ones was like plywood. They wasn't as thick, okay? But one thing about the setup crew, which I think I shouted out the first night on my Twitter or the second night, I said, I don't know who the stage setup crew is, but shout out to them, because I was like, that table was destroyed. By the end of the commercial, another table was out there. Okay, logos and all. I was like, now that is efficiency. You hear me? I don't know how much they get paid, but they are experts. Like if I was going on tour and I was some big star like a Beyonce or Rihanna, something like that, I would literally pay WWE to poach some of their setup crew. Okay? Because the way they break stuff down and build stuff up in such a short amount of time, and if something goes haywire, they're automatically, bruh, no. Okay? You can't tell me. You can't. I was like, how much? I will sign a contract to have them for like 10 shows. Y'all got enough people, or you got some backup people you can have. Like, give me, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's two people, give me two efficient people so they could teach my crew what to do. So after they leave, after like 2 shows, the crew know how to, and then they could carry it on to whenever, whoever else they work with. Like, cause man, you don't get that everywhere. You don't get that at all. That's why when people's like, it's a well-oiled machine, it's a well-oiled machine. Like, other than sometimes the production be a little, but it's a well-oiled machine. Um, I freaked out because I was like, okay, when production had the DBA for Rhea, and I was like, yes, I think hers went to 110, and I said that's how loud it was in Europe when Randy came out at Bash in Berlin. It was that high. I was like, nobody has ever gotten to 140. France got that on lock, but but I was like, the 110 is about the crowd of London or when they did Bash in Berlin. So I was like, that's cool that y'all had that. Because last video, I was like, why y'all ain't got the sound out and y'all know crowds react to certain superstars? Like, that don't make sense. Even if you don't have it the whole time they walking out, like, have it during the certain parts where you know audience participation happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cody's, whoa, like that. Or when Seth comes out and they just start singing. Like, stuff like that. So, yeah. So after that happened, I forgot how the hell this man he pinned. And because he had one point in time hit Bron Breakker with a 619, but that was way before the spear. And when Dom pinned whoever he pinned, I screamed that time too. I screamed. I was like, yeah, okay. And people was like, and then I followed Stephanie Hypes on Twitter, and she was in the press box, and she was like, the way the stadium had lit up when he won. And I was like, because I was like, we know it's his time. Like, he out-healed himself. First he went heel as, part of Judgment Day. Then he out-healed himself when he cheated on Rhea with Liv. So he double-healed himself, right? Then he triple-healed himself when you turn on Finn in Judgment Day. I was like, you can't top that. I'm like, he the number one heel in the country, whether he get boos or not. I was like, now Logan might be number one heel because people genuinely don't like him and they boo him. But I'm like, as far as like stuff like that, and so when he won and he sat there at the table, Giles Carey, he was like, I was so surprised because he was like, normally they boo me so much, I can't get a word in. And I was like, it's love. I was like, it's like a love type thing. And I was like, but Dom is one of them people that if I'm playing a YouTube video, or I go on YouTube and an interview comes up and he's on there, I'm watching it. Like, he's one of the superstars that every time I see an interview of his come up on my algorithm, I'm watching. Like him and Seth, I know I'm for sure watching. Bianca, I'm watching. Like, the other celebrities I'll see, I'm catch most of them, but not all of them. Okay, Street Profits I'm watching too. Would be like the Usos. I don't catch all of them, but I catch a few of them. Like, I caught the blogs of Jay and the Complex interview and the with his brother, and then the sneaker jump, and then like, but all the other interviews, it's too much. And then like, I'll catch Cody's, a couple of his, and then I'll catch like, I'm trying to think of who else. Like, sometimes I'll catch a couple of Rhea's, and I think that's it. Like, I don't. Oh, and I'll catch a couple lives because she my girl too. But like everybody else, I don't care to catch. Now, like I watch a lot of Chris Van Vliet ones, so I caught. I still have to watch Jordan because that's my girl. I saw Ivar's. I watch KO's because that's my guy. Like it's certain ones that I'm like catching or I'll try to catch. But everybody else, like I'm not on that wave type of situation. And I'm like, it's too much. It's too much wrestling content and I be wanting to watch other stuff. So yeah. So he was surprised and he was like, he thought the audience hated him. And then, like, he stayed in character while he was interviewing and stuff. And he's like, I'm already the greatest person. And that's only been 30 minutes. He was like, and then he said, he asked Biggie, have you been champion? He was like, I held it before. He said, I'm already better than you. And he was like, and Biggie started laughing. And then he said something else. And Biggie was like, that's wild. And I was crying because I was like, when black people say that's wild, they know you lying. If you say something in front of a black person, and they be like, what? They be like, that's wild. I was like, they know you lying, but they gonna let you keep lying and telling your story. I was like, that's what we do. And then they asked him how he was gonna celebrate. And he was like, I'm about to go get some chicken tenders. And they started laughing. Some tendies. And then he was like, I'm gonna probably get a burger from In-N-Out. And I was like, where's the In-N-Out in Vegas? That's close. And then he left. And I was like, he is hilarious. I was like, that's another reason why I watch his interviews because I'm like, he funny. Like he'll go in and out of character, but he's mainly in character. And then he was like, I already got 2 legacies on my back. He was like, I'm the best Mysterio in the game. And they was like, your dad's a Hall of Famer. He was like, I'm a 20-year vet. And he was like, he wasn't winning championships like this at my age. And then he was talking about he had showed his Eddie Guerrero shirt and stuff like that. And I was like, Dom is comedian, okay? So then the next match, Randy came out. And I was like, I don't think I've seen that color on Randy. It was like a shimmery blue. And then it said Orton in like gold or something like that. It looks like the same material that Jay had for his uniform. For his gear. And he was talking about how he don't care. Whoever it is, come through the door. So then the music played. So they opened the door and it was say his name. I said, oh my God. Like I was surprised. And the audience went crazy. Joe Hendry came out. And it cracks me up every time because it's when he turns around and does like this. I don't know why, but I crack up laughing. And then they did his whole song and stuff like that. And then he was like, he's a TNA champion and stuff like that. I heard it was backlash on that. I didn't read it, but I just heard, people were not satisfied. But I thought it was great because I was like, how cool is it to not be signed to WWE, be signed to a whole different company, but reap some of the benefits of being reaping some of the benefits of having some of the benefits like a WWE superstar. I was like, that's got to be crazy. Like, okay, that like how Mickey and Jordan were in the Rumble, and like now he's in WrestleMania, and I was like, is he the first TNA star to be in WrestleMania? That's a TNA star, like currently signed to TNA, and to have a match at WrestleMania. I was like, that's crazy. Like, how, bruh. Like I said, all the people, and I was thinking in my mind, all the people that don't watch TNA and don't know who Joe Hendry is and are like part-time, maybe WWE wrestlers or only watch PLEs or whatever, they gonna be like, oh, what's this TNA thing about? And who is this guy? And why does everybody know his song? You know what I'm saying? So it puts, in the business aspect, it puts more eyes on TNA. But I was like, I think it was great. Now, me personally, part of me was like, dang, man, he about to lose to Randy and he a TNA champion. I was like, and I know somebody gonna fry him for that on Thursday. They was like, you champion, you can't even beat Randy. And I was like, I wanted him to win because he's a champion out of that. But then I was like, but this Randy is 20 WrestleMania. Like, this man can't lose. This is 20th WrestleMania. So I was like, I didn't care who won. But for me, I wish the match was a little longer. Some people thought it was a good squash match. It was perfect. But I was like, it was entertaining to me. Like, so, That's why I was like, it was in the middle because it was great, but it was just like, it seemed to me, it was like, I wish it would have went on a little longer, me personally. And then when Joe did the thing, because I think he did it, and that's what made him lose. He got RKO'd and he got pinned. And then Randy had lifted him up and was like, you did all this, you did this in WrestleMania, stuff like that, shook his hand. And then he arcaded on him again. And then Randy did the turnaround stance like Joe did, and then turned around and did his pose. I was crying. I was like, what's wrong with him? What is wrong? Okay. And so then after that, it ended up being Logan Paul. Logan came out first. And his gear looked phenomenal. And that was because I was like, I wonder what his gear looks like. Gear looked phenomenal. I was like, it's the colors. It's the different colors. I was like, the black set it off, but I'm like, it's the different colors. And then I thought he had his phone in his hand. I don't know why. And they had attached like a small camera to it. My man's had a droid. And then released it. And then it showed 9 different pictures. 9 different angles of him. And to me personally, he was the best. He had the best entrance of that night. Like I mentioned the 4 of them. Like Bianca's was cute with the double dutch and her bonus daughter. Logan had the best entrance of that night. Like Joe Hendry's to me was one of the best because it was Joe Hendry and like people, the audience was engaged and stuff like that. But I'm like, he had the best entrance of the night. I was like the angles, and then he held the camera, brought it back, and held the camera. And stuff like that. And then AJ comes out. So as soon as they heard the first note, the crowd popped. And then it went silent. I'm like, what is going on with this crowd? And remember I said sometimes the experience is based off participation in the crowd. And I was like, y'all been lacking. Like, what is happening? Okay? Because I'm like, the people that's been there a week, after 4 days, you get adjusted to the time. So I'm like, it's not a sleep thing. You know what I'm saying? Basically, most of the events didn't happen already. So, yeah, so he came out. I like the little stripe, the blue side with the stripes, and he did his thing. At first I thought he cut his hair or something, but he didn't. I think when I see Iyo, I was like, Iyo, just color her hair some more, because I was like, it's more red, more you can see at the root. Yeah, but the match was awesome. Like, one thing you can't deny about Logan Paul is his in-ring ability is crazy. And then, of course, AJ is a legend. AJ is AJ. And you know, I said I don't say that not unless you retired, but I think he's the only person I say that about. And that's because I know of the history of him in TNA. Like, to me, but it was a good match. It was a good, solid match. And then part of me was like, so who is near the barricade that's going to try to help Logan Paul cheat? Because I was like, we know it happens every match he has. And I was like, so who is it going to be? So then, during the middle of this match, dude come from under the mat. And I said, how long he been under there? To try to give Logan the brass knuckles while the ref ain't looking. Excuse me. As soon as he brings it over, I see a hand with tattoos. When they zoomed out, this is how you know he's become like a thing that everyone loves. Like 2 years ago, people was questioning him. People started maybe picking up on him in December. And I was like, I liked him from 2023. But I was like, for me, I just wanted him to get more TV time, which he's done. Some other people are like, certain people that they follow was right. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm taking like credit. I was one of the first people that was like on the wave. And then I was like, they showed him and I was like, carry it. Like I screamed. Okay. And then he took it. He was like, Alan. And he was like, do it, please. Use the thing. Do it. Like, don't think about being a good person. Please do it. Please win this. He was like, you got to do it. And I said, not him calling him by his name. And he's like, do it. Do it. Alan looked, I think, and mushed him over to the side and threw the knuckles. But y'all know Logan got that hand or the steel hand or whatever. Logan, he turned around and he hit AJ with the Styles Clash. So then AJ was like, "You're not about to do my move on me." He hit him with but then once he hit him with Pat had named the Pulverizer, which is a very good play on words. He had and Pat be coming up with a lot of stuff because I think he's the reason why Braun Strowman got that shirt. That's one big but he hit him with that and he lost. So then after I watched WrestleMania, I saw the clip with Megan and Sam, and Karen was like, "You be the good guy and do what they say, you get let go." He was like, I've been let go. He's like, "You gotta go and disrupt things." And he was like, "I'm trying to get this in this business." He's like, "I'm trying to get people to understand." He's like, "Logan just came in here from social media to get the break when he wanted to." He said, "I'd have missed 11 funerals being in this business for long as I have." And this guy was like, "We got 25 years experience between the two of us." And I was like, "That's true." And I was like, people that don't know, she used to wrestle too. I'm waiting for her to strap them boots back up. Because last year during WrestleMania, when they had the Pride versus Final Testament, I was like, "So are the girls going to be wrestling too?" So when she came after B-Fab put her through that chair, I was like, when does Scarlett get back in the ring? Is it an injury that she doesn't want, or they just hire her to be like valet? Like what's going on with that? Like, is she agree? I don't know. But I was like, yeah, so she ended up, she was saying all that. He was like, "F that." He's like, "People don't listen to me." He was like, "We got influencers coming in here basically taking our spots. They changing the game. Da, da, da." He's like, "And I'm trying to stop this." He was like, "Stop it before it comes too late." And I said, from a wrestling standpoint, I can see that. I said, I get that. I said, that's just like when people were mad that singers and rappers will become actors. And I was like, and these actors and theater people were working on their craft. And now you got another group of people coming in and it's making jobs less and less. At that time, now you got influencers and all this stuff. But like at that time, it was bad because we didn't have as much streaming platforms and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I get that to an extent. And I was like, he does a great job as carrying. Then Logan was there from the press conference. And they had asked him something about him being the greatest. And he was in first part of this, his answer, he was definitely in kayfabe. He was in character. The only bad thing about using your name, like Ronda Rousey has said, is when you tweet certain stuff or you say certain stuff, people don't know if you're in character because you don't have a other name. If you're like in persona, if that's your persona talking or you talking. So she's like, that's the downside. So I was like, I don't watch enough of Impulsive to know when he was in character or not. So like he was like, "I'm the greatest." No. And what's your name? Ugh, 2 first names. Da, da, da. Then he went on to being Logan, like Impulsive joke with my friend's regular guy Logan. So then they asked him a second question, and he was like, he tried to do it again, and he was like, "Bump kayfabe," and he genuinely asked a question. And I was like, a lot of people that don't like him are not going to be able to tell the difference, or they're just going to be like, he's a jerk. And I was like, he was in character the first half of the first question. He wasn't in character, and then he was regular in the second half of the first question, and then he was a regular in the second question, and then they asked him a third question, and he went right back into character, and then he was like, "I'm the best." Da, da, da. And this when they asked him about Australia, I think, and then he left, and I was like, people are not gonna get that. People are not gonna get that, because I'm like, half of the time when certain stuff takes place in wrestling, basic stuff, they don't get it. So I'm like, they're not going to get that, especially when you're in your feelings about a certain person or you don't like a certain person. You're not going to get it. And I have no feelings towards him. Like, I feel like he's phenomenal in the ring. I've watched a few of his interviews that showed up my algorithm on Impulsive, like great interviews. I know of him from like Vine and YouTube and stuff, but I wasn't one of his followers or subscribers. So I don't know anything else. But in a lot of stuff he said, like the past thing about the Olympics, I was like, you're speaking on ignorance. Like a lot of people did. I was like, y'all are ignorant. Y'all didn't even research or understand what was going on before you made an opinion on social media. And that's it. And that's what causes backlash and stuff like that. And I was like, so, and it's not even about like gay or not gay or stuff like that. Because everybody's not going to accept that in their household. That doesn't mean that they hate people, the LGBT community. They just don't believe in, you know what I'm saying? But that's not the part that people have an issue with. I had an issue with. I had the issue with like him speaking on something you didn't research or know about. Like the way she was born and this, that, and the third. Like she was born like that. So like, you know what I'm saying? It was more like that. Like I don't mind people having an opinion. You agree, disagree, indifferent. But I feel like when it comes to subjects, especially sensitive topics, you need to have done your research or know what the hell, and so you can know what the hell you're talking about when you give your opinion. Like, don't just give your opinion. Like, and that's with anybody, not just him. So then it ended up being them two, the girls. Crazy and Cool versus the Irish Connection. And the only reason why I say that is because who said it? Wade or Cole has said that. So I was like, bet. That makes sense. Yeah, so I was like, that's cute. Because I was trying to find a cute name for them. But I was like, the Irish Connection ain't a cute name. But I was like, that makes sense. Like, they're both from Ireland. You know. She's the reason. Becky's the reason why Lyra got in. So it was Crazy and Cool Raquel. Crazy Liv, my girl, Raquel, versus Lyra. And she come down. So I thought Natalya. Then when we saw Becky at the Hall of Fame. And then we saw her like on Twitter cheering on stuff. And then I was like, it's going to be Becky. And it was Becky. She ain't had no fancy gear on. She had like regular black gear like she would wear on the regular Monday night. But even Big E said at the end of that match, like the veil was like real thin on that. Like basically everybody knew who was going to be. And so the crazy part is I'm not a super huge Becky fan, but I love a lot of her matches, if that makes sense. Like, to me, the match with her and Nia last year, March, is still one of the top 10 matches of 2024. Probably my top 3. Okay? Like, and that was the beginning of the year. You hear me? So, like, when she came out, even though I kind of knew she was coming out, I got goosebumps, like chills. And then my eyes start welling up. And I'm like, not you about to act like you about to cry. But WrestleMania makes me emotional for some reason. I think that's the only PLE where I get like super emotional. Let me think. No, Survivor Series done got me too. Because Survivor Series done got me when Jay had hugged Sammy in 2022. And then it got me again in 2023 when Becky hugged Charlotte. And Charlotte became a face. But like, my baby upstairs singing. Sing it, Pooh! He gonna stop after he hear me say that. But yeah, so I'm like, it came out and Liv looked terrified. It's the same look she gave when Jade came out. Because they keep saying, she didn't hurt Becky's shoulder. She didn't hurt Becky's shoulder. So I'm like, all right. And y'all know before I said it was not Liv with the whole Jay situation. Because I was like, Liv crazy as hell. Okay. I'm like, if Liv gonna do something, she gonna do it out in the open. Just like with the bat thing, in NXT with Rhea, and her and Raquel did it, and then they show her laughing off camera. Like, she's not afraid. She might be a little afraid when the person come up and to approach her, but in the midst of it, she's not scared. So I was like, when you see who did it off camera, I don't know if it was like Dakota, or it could be Asuka, it could be Kari, like it could be someone of them getting their lick back or whatever, or it could just be, I said, what if it was the twist was it was Naomi for kind of not having her back, because Bianca had betrayed her, Jade beat her up, and Bayley went on a whole nother brand. And then I was like, but at the same time, Bayley was like, cheered her on and was like, you gotta do what you gotta do, basically. So I was like, I don't know. We don't know. It could be living them, but if it is, and after she denied it, I would be surprised. Like, I've never known her in the past 3 years to be like scared that she attacked someone like behind the scenes. Like, they've even showed her on previous like Raws and SmackDowns. Like, if she had to face somebody for her women's championship when she used to have it, her and like Raquel and them would be beating the girl up, and they would catch it. So I'm like, or it'd be on like social media. So I'm like, it can't. To me, it doesn't seem plausible, but it very much could be. So she came out. Liv looked scared. She ran out the ring. And Cole was like, where you going? She was like, you scared? She didn't respond. She was like, you scared? She was like, this the girl that she said she put Becky in retirement. So Becky came out. They showed a fan on screens crying. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, the emotion. I was like, I'm buying it for the emotion. Like, if you can't make me pissed off or cry, and like I said, I'm very emo. So like, I was so pissed off with the whole Jimmy thing with Jay. I almost cried and stopped watching the rest of Raw. I got pissed. So, and I wasn't the only one, because I watched like Tony Wrestling's reactions on Instagram, and she was like, see, y'all done pissed me off. I was like, okay. I said, because I told my son was like, what? And I was like, we just got this man back. Like, mind you, it might have been 3-4 months ago, but I'm like, he was out for a whole 6 months. Like, come on. Okay. So when I saw him, like, presenting with Jay and stuff like that, I was excited. I started tearing up. And then or when people finally accomplish something or finally cut loose from someone, then I tear up. Like, because I'm very emo. Like, the whole Cody Rhodes thing last year. When Jay and Jimmy reunited in the ring for kayfabe. When, like, the whole, I don't know. Like, when Sammy and Jay had reunited. It's a lot of ones with the bloodline. When Naomi came back at the Rumble last year. Who else? When her and Jordan reunited that year in the ring, like, it was different time. I was like, oh, I can't. I really teared up at 40, not just because Cody won, but because like Seth is my guy too. And I was like, this man was broken down. He did this. He was already broken down before he did the tag. Then the next day he had to fight Drew. I was like, and then he went and was a decoy as a Shield member. Seth got him back, and I was like, he could barely walk. I was like, he was the MVP. I was balling. Like, that's what did it for me. And I think with Street Profits got the tag team championships this year. I kind of got, but like, it's various moments. So I'm like, most of the time I'm cracking up laughing, because I'm like, these people, the personas that's meant to be heels aren't really heels. They're hilarious. Like, the whole interaction with like Jimmy and Carmelo, or just the men's in general. Like, he's talking all his trash, I think, and then I think Jimmy had bucked at him to smack him. And he like, and I'm like, what is wrong with him? Jacob in that dance thing he do, and now Tom got everybody doing the yay. Like, most of the time I'm cracking up laughing. It's very rare I'm pissed off. Like, that the whole thing with the Jimmy thing, like, really pissed. That was the first time I think I was pissed off in a while. The Liv Dom situation at SummerSlam was surprising. And I got it really. And then the other times I just like scream or something like that. But sing it, Pooh. I heard you singing. Don't cover your face. I said he up there. I said my baby up there singing. Okay, I won't say it no more. With your Buddha belly. Your Buddha belly. You full. Yes, you do. Do you want your Easter eggs? Do you want your Easter eggs? Where did I put them? Sorry, y'all.
Like the way it looked, it was like a white and like a little bit of gold.
You sent that to me today?
Yeah, this board where I was playing the game.
Oh, I didn't see that. I was asleep. You wake up before me most of the time, or if I'm up, I don't be on my phone. But yeah. So Liv got in the ring. Becky got in the ring. So Becky, Liv pulled the move when she tagged Raquel. It started off like that. So I think Lyra ended up. I think Becky ended up tagging Lyra. If I'm mistaken, I can't remember. And then Becky got in the ring, and Big E has said at the end of the conference, he was like, it seemed like she ain't missed a beat. She's been gone a little over a year, and this, that, and the third. And I was like, I beg to differ. I was like, the first couple moves she did, her pace was a little slower. But I was like, it's different when you're practicing versus when you're actually in the game, if that makes sense. So like, I could practice doing certain moves in basketball, shoot and stuff like that. But like, I'm not going to know what pace I need to be at until I'm up against or somebody's right in my face. So like, after like maybe the first 3 things she tried to do, then she picked up pace. I was like, okay, now that's Becky. And then when I looked at her, I know she's always been small, but I guess because she's been gone for a year, I was like, she is tiny. Like, and I think Seth had said that on Impulsive, and he was like, she had came back from having a baby, and we were in the ring like practicing, and she was like, her elbow is crazy because she's so small. So he was like, it hurts. But Lyra and Becky ended up winning. Lyra became Lyra 2 belts. And so I was like, so is Lyra going to give up the IC championship to like Dakota or somebody, or like they going to give up the SAG championships? Because how long is she going to be able to have these 2 belts? You know what I'm saying? Like, how long is that going to happen? I haven't watched Raw yet, so I don't know what happened. My braids look terrible. I'm about to take these out. But I was like, okay. But to me, I think because the element surprise was gone because of the internet. And I wasn't even looking. Like, it pops up on that timeline that other people you don't follow, but y'all have like interests. And then I was like, to me, the match was underwhelming a little bit compared to the other ones. But that set the pace for the next match. So, the press conference was cute because Rue came and she was like, she felt like she needed something else on her since Lyra has 2 belts. And the baby was like, was trying to have her mom talk about the skunk. She talked about the skunk and stuff like that. And then she kept saying, hi, everybody. I was like, oh, look at her. And then I said, she might make certain faces like her mom and maybe got her mama personality. But I was like, that baby is her father all day. Like, she looks just like Kobe Lopez. Like, Seth is her father. Like, you don't need to go to Maury. You don't need to go to Paternity Court. What's some other shows they got out? There's so many of them now. You ain't got to go to Jerry. You ain't got to go to Steve Wilkos. That is his baby, okay? Like, when she sat there, and then she sat there, and I said, ooh. I was like, yeah, that's definitely his baby. Not like, ooh, like ugly, but like his genes are strong, okay? I was like, the only thing she might got from her mama is the eyes. I was like, well, other than that, all the rest of that is her dad. And then they asked, like, Becky, how does it feel to be back? Is she gonna be a part-time? And then she said, no, I'm full-time. She was like, she was like, she wouldn't trade her taking time off for the world, because outside of her working on like various active projects and stuff like that, she got to spend more time with her child. And she was like, I'm in it full-time. She was like, y'all know me. She was like, unless I decide to take another break. And the crowd started laughing. And they asked Lyra, like, what is next? And stuff. And Becky was talking about how she's so proud of Lyra and stuff like that. And Lyra was like, and she said, anytime she calls me, I'm there. And Lyra was talking about how it's such a dream and stuff to be doing this. And I think this is her first WrestleMania, because last year she was on NXT and all the things. And I was like, I will give her what other people say. And I forgot, when she came out, I was like, I don't know who did her wings, but they did that, okay? The white and the gold. First of all, the gear looked cute, but then to add the white and gold wings, I was like, that's meticulously done. Like, good job to whoever does her gear, okay? Raquel and Liv's gear gave me the stormiest gear, because I was like, their gear has that red, like, pleather or leather look, kind of like the one that Jade and Bianca had when they were tag team champions last year. I said, that's what their gear reminds me of. And then I was like, Liv got her cheeks out. Like, normally she does, but it's covered like a skirt or something like that. I was like, they just full blown out this time. But I was like, the main thing that I like about Crazy and Cool, because they balance each other out, and they're two different styles of wrestlers. Also, I looked forward to their gear. Like, if they bring some of the old gear out that they had a couple years ago, like, I'm here for it, okay? Like, to me, they had out now second best, because Naomi and Bianca had killed it with the gear, okay? They had the second best gear, in my opinion, for women's tag team division, okay? And it's been a few of them that are been up there, like the Establish the Glow is what I call them, but they say the Glow is Establish the Glow was first, Crazy and Cool was second, Liv and Raquel. Third for me would be Green DeVille. Okay, when Sonya and Chelsea were tag team, it was like various ways of doing black and white, which was crazy, because I'm like, I just wanted to see how creative you had to be to have the same colors but different patterns and stuff like that. And then I think also I liked Unholy Union's gear. Let's see, I'm trying to think. And then rounding that out would probably be it would probably either be Tegan and Natalya when they were tag team champions, or Maxine and Ivory when they were tag team. Not tag team champions, partners. Or Maxine and Ivory when they were tag team partners. Like, as far as nope. I'm counting main roster. Matter of fact, let me take them off. Even though their gear's up there, the metaphor, Lash and Jakara, their gear is like that, okay? Especially like when they came to Saudi, okay? I forgot, because I was only doing the main roster chicks. I forgot all about NXT. Yeah. So that ended. So then the last one was John Cena versus Cody. And first of all, like I said, the crowd was but I was like, no, before that, it was Stone Cold had him out on the 4-wheeler. She done went around. He done hit a barricade. I guess a woman or a man fell because he done went out there. And I was like, you coming in the match too soon? Because I thought he was going to interrupt the match. I was like, you coming in this match too soon. My hair. I'm about to take these out. And I was like, what are you doing? So I think he hit someone because I think Nick was there and like seeing if the person was okay. And I was like, either that person going to get a settlement or tickets to a PLE. I was like, or something, because he's still over there. Like, Stone Cold had did like the number and then did the combination for 2 nights and walked off, had his beer and walked off. And he was like, I forgot the name of his beer. And I said, had wrestlers had known about branding in the 90s, Stone Cold would be a billionaire. I said, you know how many people would buy his beer? Not just at, because I was like, the people that have barbecues or like play cornhole or beer pong and stuff like that. I said, and then you count like the bars and the grocery stores. I don't know if he have them in all these places now, but if he did like back then, I was like, he's still a staple in households. He would be a billionaire. You know, two things about America is, especially where I live at, especially here, like he'll have a whole market here, because this city is known for eating. It's 1,001 restaurants here where I live at, and then drinking like ales and beers. I'm not a beer person. I take a shot. I drink some wine with you. I've had a couple ales, depending on the flavor of the ale. I do that, but I can't do beer. Can't do it. It's an acquired taste, from what I was told. Like coffee, and I don't drink coffee either. Can't do it. No coffee flavor, nothing. I don't eat tiramisu, none of that. Like I can't. I stick with tea. I have to be like dead tired. And then even if I'm like super dead tired, I'll take like 2-3 sips and I'm like, nah, dog, I can't do this no more. So, but nope, there's one more. But yeah, so he came out the first night. The second night he said it was 63,000 something. And I said, I knew it wasn't sold out when they said 61,000. I said, first of all, I looked on Ticketmaster when the show started and there was some tickets left. I said, second of all, I looked on there an hour after the show started and there was still tickets left. And I was like, because I'm nerd like that and I'm nosy. I said, when they said Allegiant Stadium, I was like, I wonder how many people could fit in here. I was like, and it said during a football game, 65 to 75,000 depending on the event. So I was like, I know they have like to set up the stage for WrestleMania, as well as the ramp and stuff like that, and they might block off a section like they do sometimes in SmackDown and Raw for production. But I was like, that thing was not sold out. Because I was like, how y'all say it sold out the first night was 61, and then the second night talking about it sold out, and they had 2 more thousand people. Like, that don't even make sense at all. Okay? And so I was like, okay. So it ended up being like 124, something, which is cool. But I think honestly, it was more people. I think at the if they would have had WrestleMania where they had the Rumble at, was it the Rumble in Indianapolis? They could have got 20 more thousand people, because didn't they have like 70 something thousand people at the Rumble in Lucas Oil Stadium? Excuse me. I think they had 70 something thousand people, or like 68,000 in Philly. I know for a fact they had 70 something thousand in LA. But I was like, the venues are smaller. I want y'all to come to Charlotte real bad. And don't wait till I move up out of this state to come either. Okay? If I move back to Nashville, how far of a drive is that? That is a 6-hour drive from Nashville. If you live in Atlanta, that's 3.5, 4-hour drive. If you live in Greensboro, it's an hour 15 minutes. Raleigh's 2.5 hours. If you live in DC, trying to think, It is 6.5, 7 hours. So I'm just doing it based off of places either I've lived or visited. So yeah, so and I think the Bank of America Stadium is bigger than the Allegiant Stadium, if I'm correct. And this weekend it was nice out, and like I said, if it wasn't gonna be like brick cold. Like it's not. It might, if it's not gonna be in the 80s, it's not gonna be like 40, 30 degrees like Philly. You gonna at least get 55. You know what I'm saying? The only thing about that though is because North Carolina weather is bipolar. It could be cold, cool, or it could be a nice night and then it'll start raining. And then what do you do if it rains? That's the only thing. Like, what's the contingency plan if it rains? So the next was Cena versus Cody, and the ending was, a lot of people commented about something, to have an ending that's purposely underwhelming or trash is crazy. And I was like, yeah. But the entrance it went black. Because remember, John Cena was like, he's coming in the same way he normally comes in. Da 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 da. And I was like, okay. So it went black, and then John Cena's name was on the ramp. So I was like, that's dope. And then he came out in all black. He had the last time is now like this, and he was walking down the ramp. And people were booing him for like 10 seconds, and then they stopped. And I was like, because the interest to me is so simplistic, I liked it. Like I said, it's one of my 4 favorite entrances of all the people at that night. I would say after Logan, Bianca, Joe, yeah, Cena was the 4th one. And his was, because it was simple. Like, they didn't need no extra theatrics. Oh, no, I forgot about Drew's. My bad, y'all. So top 5. Cena will be number 5. But it was simplistic. It was, it was very simple. No extra added stuff. And I was like, the black gives a mourning type situation. Like, he knows this is his last time. And then he said he's not giving the audience anything extra because they're ungrateful. So then, this is to prove his point again, just like I said about Raw, when they was talking about, he's talking about how the fans are weird because, like, what was it, SmackDown or something like that? When Cody came out, they was booing him, and then he start going on Cena, and they start cheering. He's like, to my point, and I was like, his point is valid. So he came out, and he came out in a mask thing. When did mask things become like popular again? Because the only time I knew people that wore like mask or something over their face or a crown or something like that was like Triple H and Mick Foley when they came off of PLEs in my time period. Now, I know people probably did it before that, but y'all, I'm not that old. So anything that happened in the 80s, I don't know about. Now, unless I seen it like through a clip, like old tapes or something. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Okay. Another thing, I'm with Cody. Why y'all ain't got them mini rings like they had in the 80s, with the technology being better now, when they the joint used to walk people up to the ring? Like, why y'all ain't got them no more? Because he was like, they just stopped doing that, or for some reason. And I was like, I'm trying to figure it out too, because it don't make sense to me. Like, it don't. But it was simplistic. So then when Cody comes out, he comes out with like, that don't look like a Koopa Trooper mask. Okay? Ain't that what Koopa Trooper, like Skull Koopa from Mario have? Like that mask, the bone thing with the bone, whatever. It looked like that, but I liked it. And then he came out. His whole family was there because they had mentioned his mama being there, his wife, his baby. And I was like, his sister right there. Then they mentioned his sister being there. Speaking of people being there, when they show like Metro Boomin and stuff, he was like, yeah. And then they show Quavo, And Cole's like, that's my guy. And Wade said, what? And he's like, he said, I got the best hand dap in the game. And I start cracking up because everybody that saw when Quavo came in with Jay, we know that was a misfire. So Pat was like, yeah, okay. So then, they announced like Stephen Amell was there. He fine. Ooh, I forgot. I didn't know who he was at first. And then I was like, who is that? I was like, he cute. Stephen Amell. And then I said that though when I first saw him in Turtles. And then I started watching Arrow. I was like, I don't know who he is. I seen Code 8, Part 1 and 2. Both of those on Netflix. Both of those movies are really good. Like him and his cousin are in the movies. And spoiler, it's gonna be a part 3 more than likely. But both of those movies are really good. I think he's in the new Suits. I don't know. I ain't watched Suits LA. But what else? Yeah, so then they said, George Kittle and Vanessa Hudgens. And I was like, at this point, they are not guests. Okay? I was like, just like Gabriel Iglesias, he's not a guest. These people, them three are like cousins. They come to every event, every PLE that they could come to, and they come to every Raw SmackDown in their area. Y'all might as well, I know y'all got to announce, y'all want to announce them because it's who they are, but I'm like, they ain't no guests no more. That's like you having a friend come over or something like that, and the first time, maybe second time, they a guest, but after that, they be like, can I get something? Like, you like, girl, go in there and fix it yourself. Like, you ain't no guest no more. Like, I like, they like cousins that come to your house every weekend. We just saw Vanessa. What the hell was she at? I think she was at the Into It Dome, I think. And I was like, I think she stay in Arizona. She came all the way to LA to go to an event. She would, and it's crazy because last year she was at WrestleMania. I think she was pregnant. 2 Chainz in them wasn't there this year though, because last year it was 2 Chainz. It was Winnie Harlow. It was Drewski. It was the baby and his kids. It was somebody else. They was all sitting together, and us. I think the CEO of Fanatics. They was all sitting together like behind Cole and him, but they probably was like, it was a good show. And then there was also probably like, it was cold as hell. The second night I think they said was warmer than the first, and I think that happened at last year's WrestleMania too. Even though it's still cold, I think they was like the second night was warmer. I wonder how many people caught colds after that. Half of y'all be trying to be cute instead of dress for the weather. And I was like, you could be cute and covered, and then had pneumonia in your. When my aunt say y'all have pneumonia in y'all ass next week because y'all ain't want to cover up. But yeah, Cody had came out with the mask and stuff, and when he came out, it was weird because people were cheering, and then for like half second, then it stopped, and then it was booing. And then it was a mix of cheers and boos. So I was like, I'm confused by the crowd. Like, are y'all? Then it went silent. And this was all in a matter of like 30 seconds to a minute. And I was like, so are y'all not cheering for, like, I'm confused. Like, y'all went for cheering for him and then not cheering for him. But some people, like, they've been tired of him being champion for over a year. People still criticize his matches and stuff like that. And I was like, to be honest, I was like, he's lived up to every like Saturday night main event, every PLE, except for, in my opinion, one of them. And I was like, one of them was not as good as the rest for me personally. But I was like, all the other ones lived up to, no, maybe two. So the I Quit match with him and AJ Styles, it just ended like abruptly to me. Like it just, and I was like, I guess for time, because I was like, what? Like the ending for him to win. And then I think the match with him and LA Knight, I think. I can't remember if it was a championship or whatever. But it's been a couple of people he's fought for championships, and then he'll fight. Then he fought Carmelo not even for a championship. And I know they trained together because I think he said when he was getting back after he messed up his pec, that's who he was training with. But I was like, him versus Carmelo have put on a better show than some of these people he did PLEs with. And but Carmelo is great at what he does. Like when I was watching NXT first, I was like, who is that? Okay. And then I was like, and he got the skills. So when people wanted him drafted the year before, I was like, I definitely see that. But then he's just proud to be where he's at. And then when I don't know, I was gonna say the year waiting did him good justice. I'm just waiting for him to get a title because I'm like, everybody that got drafted to NXT that year has held some type of title except for him. So I was glad when he won that battle royale because I was like, it's about time. Like, and when he hold one, he need to hold it for a while. Like, have him fight. Oh, well, now we got Jacob. I was gonna say have him fight LA Knight and then let him get the title, but now we got Jacob. So the promos is gonna be turned up a notch. But he came out and then, so then for a while they were staring each other down. John didn't want to lock up with him. And then John locked up with him. And then after a while, like, John kept exiting out the ring. And then during the match, I think Cody had hit him with the bionic arm. John hit him with like 4 AAs. Cody had got John with the Cody cutter. I think he got him with the crossroads one time. And John had kicked out. And then I can't remember if either one of them did a splash or something like that. And then the ref got knocked out. So who pinned who? Who was it? I think Cody had pinned. I think Cody pinned Cena, and the audience was counting to like 11. And then everybody thought that The Rock was coming out. And it ended up being Travis Scott. And he came out. I think Cody gave him a crossroads. And the ref came to, and like it gave him the opportunity to hit Cena with the belt, but he didn't want to do that. Like, he didn't want to tarnish him being a face, and he ended up losing the match. And I was like, that is very underwhelming. But a couple things. One, okay, I know he is sad about losing the title, like Bianca had explained, but I know he's relieved he don't have that title no more. He's like, when you are hired, like when you make it here in the company, especially when you have a title like that, it was like, you have to do all this press. You have to be gone like everybody else probably in the company got days off, spending time at home, chilling with family. You out doing press, doing it. And I'm like, and then on top of that, you being one of the faces of the company, you got even more stuff to do. So I'm like, Bianca, every time they have something, she's there, whether she has a title or not. So she's getting flued out anyway. I was like, then on top of that, you're having to do added interviews and stuff like that because you have a championship. And I was like, it's only a select few people that do that. Because I was like, they don't have Gunther out there doing all them interviews. They don't have Braun Breaker out there doing all these interviews and stuff like that. Chelsea's done them more with like people that have like podcasts and stuff like that. But I was like, the main people and like that's done them, that does these interviews is and does all this stuff for like reveals of stuff with WWE has been Bianca Montez, Cody. You might see Rhea there, and that's probably, I think that's it. That's it. Like you don't. Everyone else hears probably about it either in the email or probably in the text or back in the back, something like that. But I was like, them three be doing a lot, be doing a whole bunch. And I was like, so I know that's a relief. And then I was like, he had mentioned that he was doing this so he can shake the hand of the person that wins 18 and to break like Ric Flair's record. So he did both. And then I was like, when I thought about it, I said the match was also on the woman because like John has said, when he's retiring because he feels like he's a half step behind. And he's like, he don't want to be the old guy in the ring. And I was like, you can definitely see that in this match. Like Cody had to slow down for him and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of that is because he's been away. I don't think it's necessarily because he's not capable. If he was full time like a Rey Mysterio or like a CM Punk, I believe he wouldn't miss a beat. I feel like he would still be in here going at it, like, you know what I'm saying? But because he said he hasn't been full time since 2017, and then after that he would still come back at least once a year to do at least one match. Last year he did maybe like 4. So like, you're not in a ring like that, it slows your step up. And I was like, you can definitely see that. But yeah. So I was like, I get it. But all the predictions that a lot of us had, myself included, was wrong. One of the things I think I said in my reveal was like, Cena's gonna win this championship. I see maybe him and Randy running it back. Randy getting a championship. So what would that be? His 16th? And then Randy having it for a little bit. And then maybe Randy and Cody running it back. Because remember I think Cody said one of his dream matches would be to wrestle Randy. And I don't think they wrestled each other. And then maybe they giving it back to Cody. But we don't know how long Randy's going to have it. Like, that's what I thought. We'll have like Randy and Punk. Oof, my hair itches. Because I'm like, we low-key got Cena, Punk and Cena in the ring. And I'm like, they on 2 different brands. But then I was like, it's also, the draft is happening soon. So we don't know what's about to happen. So then he came and said, Kathy tried to get, Jackie and Kathy look phenomenal, okay? Jackie got a light beat, which means like a natural beat, make it look like she ain't got no makeup on. And Kathy looked great. And they were talking about, she tried to get a comment from Cody, and him and Brandy just went back to the bus, and then they closed the door and he left. And he was like, they was like, you could see, and they was like, me and him got a rapport, and he didn't want to talk. And then people are speculating that he's going to take a break for a while because he's been the champion for over a year. And I was like, rightfully so. Even if the man wasn't champion, before he became champion, y'all had him at the reveal for WWE last year. Him, Bianca, and Rhea. He's been at every like revealing. Him, Bianca, I think Bianca was part of the TKO brand thing, stock thing. They, wrestle all the WrestleMania conference, all of today's shows, all of the things, pivot, all of that. So I was like, if he wants to take a month vacation, or how many months, whatever, if that's in his contract or whatever, or Triple H be like, all right, then I say, hell, give it to him. Shoot. I was like, because when Roman lost his title last year at WrestleMania, we didn't see him again till, when the hell we saw him? Was it, god dang, when did we see him? It wasn't as soon as Backlash. It had to been like SummerSlam or after. Because it was some months. No, it might have been right before Bad Blood. What's that? What PLE is that? Is that Crown? Or like or SmackDown before that? Because I was like, we ain't seen him in some months. It was a good minute before we saw him. Okay? He got the best of both worlds though, to be honest with you. Especially like if you're one of them top wrestlers and you want to be like, you love what you do, but you want to be present for your kids growing up. He got the perfect schedule. You know what I'm saying? And I understand it when some people be like, I love what I do. I got kids. I love what I do. Da, 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 da. Sacrifices. You got to sacrifice something. But I'm like, if you have the option to do both, I'm doing both. But you just make sure you just got to stay tapped in with the people that you close to that's on a roster. Because I'm like, months ago past, and you'll come back and be out the loop on inside jokes, on, closeness of certain new people coming up and them coming in. Like, you might know them, but you don't like know them because you ain't there and stuff like that. But Cena went back and had the press conference, and then he was like, I'm only going to ask certain number of questions and stuff like that. And every person that asked him a question, he was like, you just doing this for clickbait next. You just doing this for clickbait next. And I looked at his face and I said, he looks tired. I said, I know he's glad this PLE is over so he can get back to Africa and do his movie, or he could just fly home. Where he stay? Tampa or LA or wherever the hell he stay, to go be with his wife. Because I'm like, shoot. I don't even know if he was there the whole week. You know what I'm saying? Because he be so busy. Like, I just saw on my algorithm earlier today, that like during WrestleMania week, Cody was there in Vegas. He flew from, I think, Atlanta to Vegas, and then he had to fly. They flew him private from Vegas to New York to do the Today Show, to only be on there for like 10 minutes, to then fly back to Vegas to do the worlds and the interviews and meet the fans and all that other stuff, to get ready for his gear and all this other stuff. And I was like, hey, and he would be doing that, sadly, whether he was champion or not, because he one of the top people. And then I watched the WWE vlog, I think, with Jay, and then it had Jay and Rhea, and then Jay was watching something of like what Roman had said, and he was like, well, hopefully he understands what I was coming from and get a glimpse of what it's like to be the top person. And he was like, it's going to get, basically, like, he's proud of him. He gonna be understanding. I'm like, it's only gonna get worse from here, because if they have you doing interviews and stuff, bruh, you better have some nice clothes to put on. If you gotta be at certain events, and all of that, because that's gonna happen soon. It's gonna happen. But yeah. So I gotta watch Raw, because I gotta figure out what happened after that. And I might watch it after I put my child to sleep. So yeah. I don't want to know nothing about. I already kind of know one thing from something I saw on YouTube from the picture. No, it was from an email. It was from an email of watching NXT. And it was like the NXT, it was like, I think Gigi and Tatum are fighting the tag team champions, and it showed who the tag team champions were. And I said, oh, so I know one thing that happened on Raw. But other than that, I don't know too much. So I'm about to go watch it. And I don't know how that transpired. So even if I know the end result, I still want to see all the things that transpired prior to. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great night. I gotta go wash my hair. And stay safe. Don't let these allergies have you down bad. Or wear a mask or whatever you do. Stay 6 feet from people, because people be lying, talking about they got allergies and it be having a full-blown virus. Okay, I experienced that on Sunday. Somebody told me that their child had allergies. I keep medicine and wipes and stuff in my house. In my car. So I had Zyrtec, gave some child Zyrtec. After an hour, the stuff is supposed to stop. The baby's nose was running, didn't have a fever. So I was like, you could still have a virus and not have a fever. Had all the things, running nose, coughing, and the coughing sounded like he was congested. And then he finally went to sleep. Mind you, he went to sleep around people that were elderly. And I mean elderly like 80s, 90s, whose immune system is compromised. And I told somebody, I was like, that baby had a virus. Like, my son has had enough upper respiratory infections for me to know the difference between allergies and the virus. And I was like, and they'll tell you, oh, it's allergies. Don't believe them, okay? People were lying, okay? So make sure you got taking your vitamins and all the things, because like I said, people will straight lie to your face like, oh, it's allergies. No, daggone well they got an infection, COVID, pneumonia, something. Okay. My grade's coming back. Anyways, have a good night. Bye.